In a small town where dusty streets wound through narrow alleys, lived a little boy named Roger. Every morning he walked to school barefoot. The stones cut into his feet. The heat of the road burned his soles in summer, and in winter the cold ground felt like ice. Still, Roger never complained. He loved school. He loved learning, sitting on the wooden benches and holding his tattered books. What he didn't love, however, was the way other children looked at him. Some stared with pity, some giggled, and some whispered to one another about his bare feet. His older sister, Jenny, noticed all of this. She was just a few years older than Roger, but her heart carried a wisdom far beyond her age. Every morning, as she braided his hair and tucked his shirt neatly into his trousers, she saw him hesitate at the door, glance down at his bare feet, and then force a smile before stepping outside. Jenny could not bear it. She wanted her brother to feel proud, to walk with confidence, to have the same comfort as the other boys. But shoes cost money, and their family barely managed to afford daily meals. Their father worked long hours as a laborer, and their mother sewed clothes for neighbors. There was no extra coin for anything that wasn't necessary for survival. One afternoon, while Jenny sat quietly in her classroom, her eyes fell on her lunchbox. It held a simple piece of bread and some lentils. She wasn't really hungry. Instead, her mind was filled with the image of Roger's bare feet walking across the rocky road. In that moment, an idea struck her. What if she skipped lunch? If she saved the money meant for her meals every day, maybe, just maybe, after some time, she could buy a pair of shoes for Roger. The thought grew stronger in her heart. The very next day, when her friends took out their lunchboxes, Jenny quietly closed hers and slipped it back into her bag. When her mother asked in the evening why she returned home with food untouched, she lied softly, saying she had eaten with a friend. And so, a secret sacrifice began. Day after day, week after week, Jenny gave up her meals. At first, hunger gnawed at her, but soon she grew used to the emptiness in her stomach. Each rumble of hunger reminded her why she was doing it. For Roger, for his dignity, for the smile she longed to see on his face. She tucked away every little coin she saved into a small cloth pouch hidden beneath her mattress. Sometimes she counted the coins at night, her eyes sparkling with quiet hope. She never told Roger, never told her parents. This was her secret mission. Meanwhile, Roger continued going to school barefoot. He never knew that his sister's stomach ached with hunger while she sat in her own class. He never knew that her hands shook slightly when she wrote, not from cold, but from the weakness of skipped meals. What he knew was that Jenny always greeted him with warmth, always encouraged him to study hard, and always said, "One day, you'll have everything you need." After several weeks, the pouch under Jenny's mattress finally grew heavy enough. On a cool morning, she tiptoed to the local market. Her heart raced as she held the pouch tightly. She walked past stalls of fruits and clothes until she reached a small shop where shoes of all kinds were displayed. Her eyes darted between the rows until she saw them. A pair of simple, sturdy black shoes, just the right size for Roger. They weren't fancy, but they were strong, and they would protect his feet from every sharp stone and burning road. "How much?" she asked the shopkeeper, her voice trembling. The man told her the price. Jenny untied her pouch, poured every coin onto the counter, and held her breath. The man counted them carefully, then looked at her. "It's just enough," he said with a small smile. Jenny felt tears sting her eyes. She clutched the shoes to her chest and walked home as if she were carrying treasure. For her, they were worth more than gold. That evening, when Roger returned from school, dusty and tired, Jenny called him into their small room. She asked him to close his eyes. With trembling hands, she placed the shoes in front of him. "Now open," she whispered. Roger opened his eyes. For a moment he froze. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Shoes. Real shoes. His shoes. Are these for me?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper. "Yes, Roger," Jenny said, smiling through her tears. "They're yours." Roger dropped to the floor, hugging the shoes as if they were the greatest gift in the world, his eyes filled with tears. "But how?" "We don't have money." Jenny placed her hand gently on his head. "Don't worry about how. Just wear them. From now on, you won't have to walk barefoot again." Roger hugged her tightly, and in that moment, he realized something he would never forget. His sister's love was deeper than hunger, stronger than hardship, and brighter than all the struggles of their life. The next morning, Roger wore the shoes to school. He walked carefully at first, almost afraid the shoes might disappear like a dream. The ground no longer hurt his feet. He no longer lowered his head when other children looked at him. Instead, he walked tall, with a smile shining across his face. His teacher noticed the change. "New shoes, Roger?" she asked kindly. Roger nodded, his chest swelling with pride. "Yes, teacher. My sister got them for me." The other children, who once laughed at his bare feet, now admired his shoes. But Roger didn't care for their attention. What mattered to him was the feeling inside, the feeling of being cared for, of being valued, of knowing he wasn't alone. Jenny, watching from the school gate, smiled. Her own stomach still ached from hunger, but her heart was full. She knew she had given her brother something more than shoes. She had given him dignity, confidence, and hope. Years later, Roger would remember that moment as a turning point in his life. Whenever challenges came his way, he thought back to the pair of shoes and the sister who sacrificed so much for him. It reminded him that love, when true, asks for no return and expects no recognition. And Jenny? She never once regretted those hungry days. For her, every missed meal was worth the sight of her little brother walking proudly in his very first shoes. Because sometimes, the smallest acts of love become the greatest stories of sacrifice. And sometimes a simple pair of shoes can change a child's entire world.